Okay, hi. So I've got a scene here in a gym, and I have some jumping on a wooden floor and a skipping rope going around, and I'm going to use Weaponiser to lay some sound down to this scene just really quickly. The plugin is going to come really handy for this type of workflow because it allows me to perform and combine with my existing library and workflow really quickly. So I'm using a preset here from our battle bundle. This is going to be really handy because it's got lots of different falls and jumps on a wooden floor. So just using my MIDI keyboard, I'm going to play that whole preset. You can hear the variety that's coming from that straight out of the box. It's a bit too heavy though, there's too much going on. I'm just going to solo the onset layer. Yep, that's a bit better. Mute that layer as well. Okay, that's nice and light. I think that'll work quite well. So let's try and lay this down to the video. Great. And because we perform this in, we're going to have a nice sort of set of velocities as well. It's going to lend a kind of an element of performability and believability to that straight away. So I'm going to need some skip rope sounds now. So I don't actually have anything in Weaponiser for this, but I'm going to show you how you can combine your existing library into the workflow, still keeping up that performance element. So I'm actually going to use Soundly here, and I've already found a sound in the library that I think is going to work quite well. Okay, nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select little sections of this skipping and I'm going to drag and drop them into Weaponiser. So the reason why I'm doing that is because it allows me to then perform the skip rope in the same way that I perform the footsteps. But I've already got some sounds in the library, so I'm just going to combine the two workflows together really easily. And this will work just as well with sound miner or bass head or anything else that you've got that you're currently working with. Okay, so if I go back to Pro Tools now and let's hear what this preset sounds like. Nice. Okay, so I'm going to add a tiny bit of speed variation and volume variation now. So when I perform it, it's going to have a little bit more life to it. Okay, so now let's just lay this down on top of our previous layer. Great, the last one was a little bit too much, but now we've managed to lay that down really, really quickly. Let's just hear it back together. Fantastic. So it's MIDI as well. So if I need to adjust the timing of any of those individual elements, I can do that really, really easily. I've already got a little ambience I found here, just a skipping rope boxing gym. So let's add that in and let's see how the whole scene feels together. Fantastic. Nice and quick. You can see how Weaponiser can be a really powerful tool, not just for weapon design, for all sorts of different use cases where you want to add a bit of performance into your sound design or when you need lots of variation very, very quickly. So I've got a scene here with someone throwing orange back and forth. I'm going to use Weaponiser to put sound to this video. The reason why I'm going to do that is because, as you can see, the scene is really performative. To track lay this movement and all the variation that's going to be involved is going to take me a lot of time. You can see now that the scene is starting to speed up as well. So just to lay individual landings and whooshes and stuff for all this is going to take me a lot of time. So I'm going to perform the scene using Weaponiser. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a plugin and I'm going to put in some orange landing sounds that I recorded really quickly. They sound like this, so I'm just going to drag and drop these into the plugin, into the thump layer. So the reason why I'm doing this is this allows me to perform this sound really easy using my MIDI keyboard. So you can hear now that I've got some speed variation, some level variation, so every time I trigger the note, we're going to get a different type of landing. So let's try and lay this down to the scene. Great, so that's got an element of performance to it already because I'm playing in with MIDI. I've added a little bit of velocity and a bit of extra adjustment to those layers, so it's going to add a little bit extra layer of performance already. So we've already got something that's a good start. One more thing I'm going to lay in now in this layer is I'm going to add the thump synth to just add a little bit more body to that layer. So this sounds like this on its own. That's okay, maybe we need to change the shape of the envelope just to get it to gel to the scene. What I'm also going to do is, using Alt-Click, I'm going to add some variation to the gain and duration of this body layer as well, so that every time we trigger it, it's going to add a bit more real-world variation to it as well. So still a bit much, let's turn it down. Let's go with that for now. That'll just add a little bit more body to that layer. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look through the factory library for some whooshes, because I need that to go where the orange is flying through the air. So let's take a quick look. Not quite right. Okay, that might work. So these are very light, they're very comic. This might suit the scene quite well. So I'm just going to drag and drop these in from the browser. Of course, you can do the same with your own assets, drag and drop from wherever you have your assets. So in they go. Again, I've set this to random, and I've set some speed and level variation into it as well. So using a different MIDI track, I'm now going to perform these as well, because the timing is going to need to be slightly different. Okay, let's see how we get on here. Okay, again, not absolutely perfect, but we've got a really good guideline there. It's going to help us down the line. The great thing as well about the Weaponiser workflow is that if I get feedback saying that these whooshes aren't right, what I could do is simply mute this layer, drag and drop in some more, try something else from my library, and I maintain the timings that I've played in and that I can edit. That's going to save me a lot of time down the line. So something else I could do really quickly now is, using the two audio tracks I've set up, I can route the audio from the Weaponiser plugin straight to my timeline and record the audio. So if I prefer to edit in this way, I can do this really easily, or just getting it ready for mixing so that I can send this straight away. I've also prepped a little bit of Walla here. So let's put all the whole track together again now and see what it all sounds like. Great, so you can see how we can use Weaponiser to do much more of these type of everyday type of sound design type of tasks. Obviously it's a really dynamic scene, there's a lot of changes, a lot of movement, and we need each of these hits to be different and to be real, have variation. Weaponiser is really ideal for this type of thing. So thanks for watching.